Let's go. Hello, welcome to Badger Beer Report, the brewery report for 4/22/25. And I am here with our go-to brewery guy, Joel Geyer. What's up, Joel? We're here after only like 2 weeks. That's
Again.
because you feel we have to talk about some things. So what's going on in the world of Wisconsin breweries?
Well, as we basically kind of the same intro, only it's even more so on the positive news side of things because we don't have any closures to speak of on this update. And we have several more openings that including a couple that literally were announced or came to our eyesight, I guess you could say, shortly after we recorded what I forget. Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I guess.
It always happens that way.
Yeah, I know. So we have a lot of news to cover, and I feel like for the most part, it's all positive news. We also have an update on. I was able to visit one of the newer locations here in the state, Voodoo, and so we'll be discussing them at the tail end. So yeah, I don't know if we just want to jump in here because the very first thing that we have is an update. This was something that we covered last time that we were talking about a brewery that was coming into downtown Menominee Falls. And we said that we had confirmed and knew who it was, but there was going to be an announcement going to be a couple days later. And here is that announcement. Hop Yard Ale Works, based up in Appleton. They are moving in, and this will be their second location. And I think a lot of people are excited because apparently this is one of the ones that I have not been to, but apparently people are really big on their wood-fired pizza, and they are bringing that along with the beer. This will be, to my understanding, only tap room only. They will not be brewing here, but this is right in the heart of downtown Menominee Falls, walking distance to tons of shops and restaurants and all that kind of good stuff. So I think it's a really fun location. We've talked about kind of that northwest side of the metro area. Doesn't have a ton going on. Third Space opened up their innovation, Innovation Ale House or whatever it is there. But it's not, it's kind of right on the cusp of Menominee Falls. It's not like in the heart of Menominee Falls at all. So this will kind of be that first true like taproom brewery there, right there in downtown Menominee Falls. So I know that they have not released a date yet, an expected date for this. But it just said later this year. Hopefully that is, remains true. Maybe this, I don't know if it'd be this fall. I guess, I don't know how much work they have to do on the interior to get it to where they want it to be. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm excited for this one because this is another one that I'll be able to get to pretty easily. And a brewery that, while I was familiar with the name, I have not had any of their beer before. And this will make it much easier for me to make the, 15-ish minutes drive here than to drive all the way up to Appleton. So this will be on my agenda as soon as they open their doors.
Location is key here, in my opinion. Yes. What's next, Joel?
So the next one is, speaking of Appleton, we have big news because this is a True Blue opening happening up in Appleton, Vault 202 Brewery and Taproom. The name is kind of a giveaway here. It is going to be inside an old bank. You can see, there's some posts and whatnot. They're basically, we don't have a ton of information to go off of yet. It says opening summer of 2025, but besides that, not a ton to go off of. It says, there's going to be food there, pizza, wings, etc. Brewing the beer there on site. We'll see. I'm hoping that we get a little more firm details. They've posted some pictures of the inside that looks like, they're still very much building it out. But the summer could mean, August, late August, so we'll see if we get some more updates, because this was, like I said, early April. This was right around the time that we were planning to record previously. And yeah, I'm just hoping that we get a few more I've been watching this Facebook page pretty closely, and there hasn't been a whole lot of action, but my guess is that once we get a little bit closer and they have more information to truly share with the public, they'll be moving that way.
All I got is,
yeah, well, I mean, it's clear that the one of the breweries in Appleton there is expanding and adding a second location. We have a true new opening in Appleton as well. So, things are looking good there for the Appleton craft beer scene. And speaking of new breweries, although this one is not technically a new brewery, but one that I am so excited about because it is a brewery that I have gotten to drink their beer before, even though they do not have their own location. So Radix Fermentation, they are out of here in Milwaukee, and I know they were brewing it with Mobcraft at some point contract. I don't know what currently they were doing, but this is a brewery that has done like little pop-ups. I know they've done a couple at Supermoon in Bayview, and that's where I got to sample their beers. And at that time, it's been, over a year and a half. It's been a long time since I went to that first one that I talked to them, and they told me at that, they were like, yeah, like we would love to get our own location, specifically in Cudahy. And they were thinking that they had been looking at places. And so I was like, oh, like, that'd be pretty cool. Maybe down the road here pretty soon, we're going to get to see them. And, it's been, like I said, almost 2 years now. And so it obviously, I think, is more difficult to find the proper location, because a lot of things have to fall into place, I feel like, for a brewery to find the right home. And they did finally, though, in a former Cudahy fire station. So this is another place that we talk about Cudahy being quote unquote brewery desert, because when you look down south of the Milwaukee area, St. Francis has, who we're about to talk about, St. Francis Brewery, and Falklandia. Oak Creek just has the one Water Street location. There really isn't anything. Racine only has the one. Like there isn't as much to the south side of the metro area as one might think. And so this is going to be an excellent addition. The beer, to me, I love the beer. It is definitely more on the kind of like unique side of things. I did compare them a little bit to Supermoon. I think that they will, similar to Supermoon, offer some more approachable beers when the time does come. But just to give you an idea of some of the things that I tried, two of my favorites here. Oh, I was pulling it up here. That I tried. One was called Sound of the Starling, and this was a spontaneous fermented dark ale aged on Wisconsin grown red wine grapes. And then I also had a mixed culture sati brewed with fresh spruce and juniper berries, and then fermented and aged in oak barrels. So that gives you kind of a little taste of some of like the small like bottle condition and like bottle stuff that they were doing. Although we'll see when the time comes, when they have to serve, a full tap line and they're trying to appeal to more people. We'll see exactly how that all shakes out. But if you can't tell by my rambling, this is one that I am very, very excited about. Specifically, even if I wasn't from the Milwaukee area, this is one that I'd be excited about coming in to the Wisconsin craft beer scene. So yeah, we're going to keep our eyes peeled. We don't have any other real deadlines or updates on Radix, but you can bet that we will be covering them when the time comes.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how they transform that old firehouse into a brewery. I love when breweries do that. So what's going on next, Joel?
Speaking of St. Francis, I just said that we were going to be talking about them. St. Francis Brewery just had their grand opening on the 14th, and very, very cool, because this is one of those breweries that shut down. I forget exactly when that was, but we covered it. And this is new ownership coming in. And if you are watching the video live, you can see the new logo, its new branding. So I admittedly only went there once, as it's on the opposite side of the metro area for me. It always felt more restaurant than brewery. We'll see if that continues. I did know a couple people that went to this grand opening. Unfortunately, because of some issues, like there's obviously like licensing that are always happening. They are not serving their own beer quite yet. I haven't seen that they are, so we will see. Hopefully that happens very soon because I know they are planning on it. I can't remember his name, but the old brewer from Enlightened is brewing there.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we were talking about this in our group with Chris and Landon about whether or not, we were going to see similar beers as what they were before. I know that they were named after the 7 deadly sins, kind of playing into the whole St. Francis religious theme. The Hefeweizen, I remember Chris commented, was very good. But we'll see. I don't have a lot of information otherwise. I am planning on waiting until I kind of have confirmation on when they are going to be serving their own beer before I make my trip down there. But once I do, I will be sure to post about it on all the Badger Beer Report socials and share my experiences there. So I'm very excited to see this one coming back to life and kind of a new a rebirth almost, like we said. So I wish them the best of luck down there.
Yeah, the menu looks great, and if everything follows through with the brewery, the beer is going to be good. St. Francis is going to be want to be on y'all's radar at some point, in my opinion. We
Yes.
will verify that once it happens, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be one of those approachable breweries where you could take your family, or you could even have a nice brunch there. So we'll check
100%.
that out, Joel.
Yeah.
What's going on next, Joel?
So this is one. This one kind of threw us for a loop. Kind of came out of nowhere just a couple of days ago, and Angry Minnow Brewing, which is up north. I'm
Hartford?
Hayward, yes, Hayward.
Oh,
Hayward. So they posted on Facebook the long overdue wait. The boards have come off. Still a lot to do before next month, but this project is becoming a reality. And
nothing before that.
Previously a few months back, and we didn't really catch this, and it also just kind of went under the radar because it just said it was just a random post of we're going to be temporarily closed, see you in the spring, which when you're one of those small up north breweries, that can mean anything. I mean, there's a lot of breweries that consistently close way up north that consistently close for the winter months. But we were like, oh, were they like renovating their place? But if you look at the pictures online, this building is not the same building where they previously have been. And so there are comments on the Facebook post asking, are you guys like keeping the old location? Is this the new replacing? Is this location replacing the old location? And there has been no updates on this. I have been checking every day to see if they replied to any of those posts or had a new post. So we don't know if they are just moving, if they are adding a second location. I would guess, since it's both in the same area, I would guess that they are just moving to a new location and that it's not a second location. But that's just me speculating. So we will see. This is one that obviously it says in the next month. So I'm guessing that we will have an update on this the next time that you see us. I am just semi perplexed by it because we didn't really have any other information about it. We reached out to them. I have not heard anything. And they have not, like I said, they have not responded to any of the comments because other people are asking the same question. Like, is this a new location that is replacing the old one, or is it a second location? So we will follow up with this and hopefully provide you with an update in the next couple weeks, or certainly within the next month or so, it sounds like.
Yes, and I have some notes here. So Angry Minnow is not one that I was familiar with, and I would suspect that a lot of our folks aren't because they're in Haywood, as we said, and Haywood is up there. It's up north, y'all. It looks like it's about an hour north, or no, it looks like at least 45 minutes north of Eau Claire. So it's really up there, y'all. The current Angry Minnow was housed in a historic brick building, y'all. In 1889 by lumber baron Robert McCormick. It was also the offices of the Northern Lumber Company. So the place that they were at or still at, not sure. We're figuring that out.
Yeah.
Was a historical was a historical building, and I heard it was really nice, and really had a nice atmosphere. Um, it's, the atmosphere was described as classy, inviting, and historical atmosphere, with high ceilings and exposed brick and everything. So I hope that we're talking about a new expansion, but we may not be. They did have food at the other place, or at the original place. One of the things that really struck me, Joel, is that Angry Minnow opened in 2004, so they
Mm-hmm.
are 21 years old. And they're co-owned by brothers Will and Jason Rasmussen. Jason's a brewer. Jason was an avid home brewer. Sounds very familiar about a lot of breweries, right? But he also apprenticed down here near me at the Great Dane Brew Pub, and he also attended Siebel Institute. So their brewer has some chops, and he's been doing it for 20 years. So I find it very interesting that after the 21 years, for whatever reason, we're either expanding or moving. So there's really more to the story, and Joe and I will get to the bottom of it at some point.
Yeah.
And once we do, we'll bring it right to you.
Yes.
So,
Well, and I'm curious because the space in this picture does not look overly big, unless I don't know if it's multiple. It could be multiple levels, I suppose, or super long. Because based off of this shot, it certainly looks like it would be on like the main street, like the downtown area, the small downtown area of Hayward. Sorry. And their current location is a little bit, Hayward is not that big of a place, so you can never be that far from downtown, but it's more on kind of the more towards the edge of the town, so I think it's like, 3-4 blocks away from the actual main drag. So I don't know if this is just a play like to get to more downtown area for more walking friendly stuff, but either way, yeah, I'm hopeful that we get more information on it soon.
We'll see.
Yep. And before we continue, just a couple reminders for folks. First one, Lager and Friends, taking place at Gathering Place. And if you want to drink a beer that was brewed by myself, Greg, Chris, and Landon Spirit, you can come and try out a beer that we just recently brewed last week with the folks at Gathering Place. We had a blast, sampling the different malts, doing all the, the hops. And we did help, we helped, we did what we were told. And Lager and Friends, for those unfamiliar, it's the huge lager festival that takes place now every year. What year is this again, Greg? Do you remember? I can't remember.
It's the 6th year.
Sixth year. And this is taking place on Vienna Avenue, right in front of the brewery. I believe it's like 40 plus breweries from around the region are going to be bringing up some delicious, delicious lagers. And if you come to our booth, we will be serving up our lager there, and you can come and chat with us, hang out, drink a bunch of other lagers. But it's something that we're very, very excited about for sure. Did you have anything you wanted to add for that?
Yes, sir. And shout out to Joe for being welcoming and helping us gather at his place to brew a beer. And also at Gathering Place, you will be able to get what Joel's about to talk to in the next slide.
Yes. Well, and before I move forward, though, I do want to shout it because I'm actually drinking a beer from Gathering Place. It was their small batch release that you and I both thoroughly enjoyed when we got to sample it there. The Pastel Prairie. Oh, my camera's being all weird. Maybe it's because I'm not in front of it there. Pastel Prairie, a Belgian table beer, a lovely little 4.6%. Just beautiful, light. Got the nice light, like geesy kind of breadiness to it. But I could just sit here and drink multiple of these if I really wanted to. It's a really, really well done beer. As hopefully our beer will be come time. And as Greg said, my book, Flights Across America, will be available for purchase at Lager and Friends. I'm very grateful for Joe and the Gathering Place folks for letting me bring my book there. For those that maybe are not familiar, I wrote about my experiences traveling to almost 1,400 breweries across all 50 states. I mentioned over 1,000 breweries in the book. It's broken down into kind of part how-to guide, part travel guide, and part memoir, discussing the craft brewery scenes in pretty much every major and minor city around the country. Lots of color photos. There's also kind of the whole front section is kind of, look at Greg's got his signed copy right there. And Yeah, the whole first press section is kind of describing how I went about visiting breweries, planning my vacations, what I looked for when I visited a brewery, questions I would ask when I would visit a brewery, all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, and this is also a good thing if you ever wonder, when people always ask me for my favorites from different places and favorite breweries and favorite beers. This book is the closest you're going to get to an answer like that. So yeah, stop by, and even if you don't buy a copy, I'm happy to talk about it with you. And get to share those experiences. That was the main point of getting to write this book. And so,
Amen to that.
yes,
Oh, and amen to this.
yes. So we have an update on a project that was announced a while ago, like quite a while ago. Foxtown Brewing out of Mequon, it has been working for a while on putting together a large riverfront tap room right in downtown Milwaukee. That was also paired up with a large dog park. They are big on the whole. I believe a lot of their money came from. They were part of owned like a dog food company or something like that. And so this dog food park, or this dog park, was going to be kind of part of this whole little. I don't think campus is the right word, but it was going to be all part of the same area. And we got a lot of radio silence on this project for a long time after it was initially kind of announced. But we finally got an update a little while ago. It kind of flew under the radar. It wasn't heavily reported. That's why we're just now getting it to you. But some of the construction was finally happening in downtown Milwaukee. My understanding is that there has been numerous delays. There were issues with the water table level, which I can only imagine could be an expensive endeavor to correct. Obviously, it's also a very tight construction site, which I guess has posed problems for the types of equipment that they can get in there to actually work on this. Because it's a very finite amount of space. There's not a ton of room down there. But if you are looking at the renderings, this, when completed, hopefully, because according to the article, it was saying something that it probably won't be until sometime like later next year. But whenever this does get completed, assuming it does, this will become, I think, one of the top destinations in the area for beer, and just in general too. Like, it looks like a gorgeous multi-level facility right on the water. It's even according to this, is going to have boat slips, and not to mention a dog park next door to bring your furry friends. And if you have not been to Foxtown up in Mequon, you definitely need to, because they have really blown out that whole space up there. It's an old brewery. There's logger caves underneath that you can tour. You can even do a dinner in the beer caves, which is really cool. It's a gorgeous tap room. They have a huge separate building for events and all sorts of stuff. Good beer, good food, high quality spot. But yeah, they have spent a lot of time and money up there, really making it into a fabulous part of the beer scene there on the northern side of the metro area. And I really, really hope that they are able to find success with putting this project together, because I think it truly could be something special.
So a little bit more about what Joel was saying. The building that Foxtown is in currently is the Opitz Zimmerman Brewery, established in 1857 by German immigrants. This makes it one of the oldest brewing sites in southeastern Wisconsin. Joel mentioned the logger caves. It's a significant feature of the property. 2 levels of underground caves, y'all. Hand dug in the 1850s, used for natural cooling in the early days, for loggers and stuff, and before, refrigeration. These caves have been restored and even offered for tours to provide a glimpse in the history of the beer. So, Foxtown has literally built-in history, y'all. It's definitely one that you should check out for sure. This is going to be fun. We probably won't have an update for this in a while, but when we do, we will bring that to you on the Badger Beer Report.
Yes, and I should mention specifically, the article says the construction did officially start in January. So that was kind of the main update, and just that there was issues with the whole water table and some of the other factors. But hopefully we have more updates for you. But my guess is, based on the time that they're reporting it, it will not be as quick as some of the other things that we were discussing earlier. We do have another update here, just a quick one. Brewfinity, who we have discussed a couple different times, that they are opening up their second location in Pewaukee, right there, kind of downtown, like near the lakefront. So looks like, floors out, electrical work is in. The space is coming together. If you are looking at the screen right now, you can see there on the bottom, they are now listing jobs for that they're looking to hire folks to come in and work in this location. So hopefully we're starting to inch closer to this. We'll look forward to reporting hands on, I was going to say feet on the ground once this is open, because it's certainly within an easy drive for me. So we will do that once it is open. But yeah, second location, another one. Like I said, there's been a number of those kind of smaller-ish to mid-sized breweries that are opening up these second locations now here in this part of the state.
Yep. And next we have a installed brewery, or someone installing a brewery.
Yes.
Again,
so the next up, yeah, this is another one that we've mentioned a couple times.
This is Hartford.
Yes,
I got Hartford and Haywood mixed up.
So yep. Hartford. So this is they're in Hartford. Yep. Brewed Omen. We touched on them when they were first announcing that they were going to be putting in their own brewery, because for a long time they've just been, like a beer bar tasting room. But which I think is really fun, by the way, they have been tracking the number of days since a brewery was last brewing beer in Hartford. And they posted about this on this day 88 years ago. The family agreed to bankruptcy of their brewery. And then they posted this update. I forget what day this was, a few days back, that they had just brought in some of the initial kind of equipment, floors, walls, and they also brought in the first equipment. So the walk-in cooler, they're starting to get the ball rolling there. I forget. I believe they said they were hoping to start brewing and getting stuff closer in like May. I always take that with a grain of salt, and I'll be surprised if it's that quick, but we'll see. But yeah, another addition to kind of the greater. This is a little bit further out from Milwaukee, but if you're in the Milwaukee area, they're certainly within a short enough drive to go check them out when the time comes, if you have not already been there for the beer bar. But yeah, watching this one very closely, because they've been one of the ones that has been more consistent with posting construction updates along with photos of their progress. Which is cool, because again, this is one that they already have an established bar and everything. This is simply them putting in the necessary equipment for them to be able to brew.
Head over to their website and sign up for their newsletter if y'all want more information. But until then, we're going to go to one of our rebrandings.
Yes. And this is Last Ditch Brew Pub. So if you guys remember, we have talked about them a couple times. This is the old R Noggin location that changed hands and went through a time period where they were planning on opening April 1st, and then it got pushed back a couple different times. And of course, right after I think we did our last show, was it the 14th or something? And of course, right after that, they announced that their opening day was going to be April 16th. And so they freshly knew, I guess it's now been, the 22nd. So less than a week, that it'll be a week tomorrow. If you are curious about, the space is fairly similar, I feel like, to what it was when it was R Noggin. But if you're curious to how it looks, they have kind of a little video walkthrough, which is, you can see a screenshot of, that shows the whole tap room, the little upper balcony area with additional seating, all that kind of good stuff. Barbecue. Again, they've got a lot of beers. They added a couple tap lines from what was there when it was R Noggin. So I'm not sure when I'll get down there. I hopefully will at some point, because again, it's right along the freeway there, to kind of report on both the similarities and the differences from when it was R Noggin. But yeah, wishing them all the best now that they are finally officially open.
Yep. And one note, y'all, is that they have applied for their liquor license, so they will be trying to serve liquor or cocktails, or put maybe even THC drinks there. So keep an eye out for that one. But until then, they will be serving their Last Ditch beers, and apparently some R Noggin beers. And once we get a report, we will get it over to you. But now we're going to move to another rebranding story here.
Yes. And this is kind of a twofer. So the Explorium Brew Pub, we covered pretty extensively when they purchased Good City and all of the Good City locations. I believe we already discussed when they closed down the smaller tap room up in Mequon at the little Mequon marketplace. And they just changed over the original Good Finder location on the east side to Wayfinder, which we were kind of unsure on exactly what that meant. Was it going to be, because it is certainly it's a different brand. It's not an Explorium brand, not a Good City brand, but it's not like a separate brewery to our, like they're not brewing Wayfinder beers now or have a separate license or anything. And in fact, looking at the beer list, it's a perfect 50-50 split between Explorium beers and Good City beers. But what they did do is they have quite the extensive food menu now. A lot of influences from around the world and different parts of the world that it all sounds really delicious. I know you're more the food guy than I am when it comes to breweries. But yeah, I don't know. Did you have anything looking at the menu that really caught your eye?
No, but I'm sure that it's good.
Yeah.
They have a good reputation. Obviously, I'm exploring. The one time I was there, it was fantastic. Beer and food mix. So I suspect it feels like they're going a little higher end here.
Yes.
And I think that this is going to be good and fun. So yeah, check it out, y'all.
Yeah, I fully agree with that because they've also always been one of those breweries that has a really big variety of beers that kind of goes well with a lot of different things. So yeah, I think it's gonna work itself out. But yeah, so the other location, which is out in Tosa, was another just Good City tap room. It was not brewing, just a tap room, and they're having the grand opening for this May 31st, but it has already been switched over to Explorium and reopened. So I think this is just going to be like a big kickoff to try to draw people out. It says at the top their patio season. So I think as the weather warms up, because they kind of did this changeover in winter. So like now that it's going to be warming up, they're hopefully going to draw people out there. So yeah, I haven't been there since they rebranded. It's a really nice tap room. Like it's a nice location. There's a lot of other stuff kind of in that area. So hopefully, similar to with Wayfinder, they're bringing in their own touches, their own menus, and have some success with that.
Yep, and note the date, y'all. It's the same day as Lager and Friends, so you can go to Lager and Friends and then head over there afterwards.
Yes,
So
100%.
on that note, we have just a straight opening here in the Brewery Desert.
Yes.
Update.
Yes.
An update because we talked.
An update. Yes, but it is a true update or a true new opening as well. Fond du Lac Beer Company, one that we have discussed a couple different times, but that we're very excited about because Fond du Lac has got to be, I think, the largest city in the state without a brewery. Because as long as as long as Racine's holding on to Littleport.
Yes.
But yeah, so testing. The first batch of ESB was going through their filtration system.
Oh, nice.
So the fact that they are obviously brewing their beer up there means that we are getting closer and closer. They've been doing posts also on their Facebook page, announcing some staff members and showing that they were out at some events in Fond du Lac. So I think we do not have a date yet, date announcement, but we are getting closer, I feel like. And yeah, the fact that this may not have been the first beer that they ever brewed because that's not what it says, but announcing that that this ESB is kind of like their first post they have about a beer is very intriguing. I don't know if they're going to have more traditional European styles or if they're going to kind of run the gauntlet. We'll see, and we will tell you once we know, because that opening will certainly be covered when the time comes.
Absolutely. And then we have another opening that you attended to, or maybe not attended the opening, but you attended real soon after that.
Yes. So this I actually did this I think like the weekend after we had our last show, and I went out to Voodoo, which I know that we covered kind of the opening and kind of the whole process with that. I was very excited to finally get out there, just kind of check it out, see what they are. Because again, it's a different type of visit. Because again, you go in knowing like, oh, like, this is a franchise. It's not like a brand new brewery or anything. They are not brewing beer there. The beer is being brewed at the main location in Pennsylvania. But what I can say is that I walked away more impressed with the beer than I would have anticipated. The beer was all very high quality. I had like a little like app thing with like some French fries or something, but I didn't eat the food. But a lot of people were eating, and I suppose the food is also very good out there. This is located at kind of the heart of Delafield, I guess. I guess you could call it the downtown of Delafield. Um, but on my flight there, you can see I had the empty calories light lager, the lacto cooler Berliner Weiss, the big secret pizza party golden rye IPA, and Winoma's big brown ale. All four were ones that I would drink again, but I really loved the lacto cooler, which is their Berliner Weiss that is brewed with what they call the green stuff, and it is a secret what that actually is to make it green. They do not release that. The only people that know that are apparently the brewer and the higher ups. Not even the staff knows that there. So fun little thing there. But yeah, I would drink all four of those beers again. Staff was all very, very friendly. I actually got to talk to the owner there. I think we're going to have some more conversations with him down the road because it is a very interesting thing, you know, having the franchise come in. And in terms of quality, this is definitely a significant step up beer quality wise from other kind of the brew pub chains that you hear about. You know, the Rock Bottom and the Granite City and the BJ's, those kind of places. This beer was a significant step up in my eyes. And I really enjoyed it. It was very, you know, nice, very open, bright tap room. But yeah, I know you said you had a couple things that you wanted to kind of bring up with the whole franchising as well with this.
Yeah, Voodoo's an interesting they're an interesting franchise, y'all, and
Mm-hmm.
I think Joel's talking about it, but I would like to also stress that they're not a straight, I mean they are a franchise, but I don't you know, I think we all deserve, maybe if you were near there, chances to go in and see,
Mm-hmm.
and not just paint that anti-franchise brush on this, and
Yes,
a couple
100%.
reasons why. Couple reasons why. Number one, they have they call it an anti-franchise approach, which is basically marketing, but it markets itself as a franchise for people who don't like typical corporate franchises, emphasizing individuality and local community integration. If you follow the one that just opened here, you will see that in their social media. The brewing is done centrally, though. It's a significant aspect of their model that the beer is brewed in the central production facility located in Meadville, Pennsylvania. Then it is shipped fresh to the franchise locations. This means that the franchisees do not need to brew on site, eliminating the need for brewing expertise, expensive equipment, and the complexities of beer production. So that is something, so they can focus on the food, and they can the beers just come in, and the beers are vetted at other places, and so there's none of this we're a new brewery and we're still trying to dial in our equipment. They emphasize quality and unique flavors of their craft beers, y'all. And I think Joel spoke on some of that. While they do provide a base menu as a franchise, they encourage franchises to customize their food with locally
Yep.
sourced ingredients and dishes that resonate with the community. So, here you'll probably see cheese curds, and you probably won't see cheese curds in Ohio, if that makes sense. Each Voodoo location, and I'll let Joel, after I'm done this, Joel will talk about this, but each Voodoo location likes to adopt a European beer hall style layout where customers order and then pick up their food and drinks at a counter. This model allows for leaner staff and lower overhead. Voodoo also aims for the brew pubs to become community gathering spots, so they really try to hit the local events and welcoming and a strong atmosphere with that local ties. And I think you'll see that in the one that just opened. They supply, where a franchise comes in, they supply, the ongoing support and the training and the manager training and stuff like that. So they were able to, it seems like they were able to hit the ground running here, and they didn't have a lot of things that normally breweries go through. Y'all know, when we go to a brewery the first couple times, just for example, y'all, a typical franchise costs 75,000 for each location. That can vary. There's different standards of how much money you got to have, but they're always looking for new places to expand to. So Voodoo's an interesting one, and I'll let Joel wrap because he was there, and let him speak on some of the things that I just spoke on.
Yeah, I mean, and it is a very interesting type of thing. Well, because when I talked with Brian, the owner, who I think at some point we may have a conversation with, and we may end up going out there and doing something with him because he was interested in Badger Beer Report. Was that he actually told me, he's like, I wasn't looking for a brewery. Like he was looking for some type of franchise to bring into this building, the granary building, whatever it is, there, it's new build there in Delafield. And he just felt that Voodoo was such a good fit and that they had high quality stuff. And that he said he just felt that the company really did a good job with their franchises in both providing like a good solid base while also giving them the freedom to kind of dictate food, and also with beer too. Like he can pick and choose some of the beers that they do. They also had guest taps on from some other like local stuff. So it is, like I said, a good, I would say it's a good stop. Just go check it out if you're in that area, if you're in Lake Country, which is how they actually brand it. It's Voodoo Lake Country is what they, if you can see the logo there. So yeah, I think it's a nice little addition to that area because Delafield really just they have the Delafield Brew House and a Water Street location. So I think this is a cool one. And again, this is the only one that's kind of, again, in that downtown walkable area.
And now, y'all, we have things that we're keeping an eye on. We may not actually have notes, but we're keeping
Yes.
an eye on these for y'all coming up.
Yes. So Mobcraft going through their transition, and Bull Falls also, with both of them transitioning to being open. Hop Garden, we have not heard any more news yet on the recently announced third location. Still looking to hear more from Boulder Junction on their timeline. And I can let you kind of touch on Gravity Box, because Gravity Box again touched. They have their announcement on their location in the Dells, but you just stopped in for the first time to Gravity Box. Just
Yeah,
2 days, a couple days ago.
yeah, it was Monday. And I would say that it's right off of the Interstate 94 in Boston, y'all. I would say that it's worth a stop if you need a little refreshment. They have pizzas, they have homemade pizzas in there, and another little bit of a full menu they're working on. But they really have a nice set of beers that I tasted. I enjoyed pretty much every one I had. I mean, and even a Dunkel that I thought was a little not traditional, drank pretty well. And I was really surprised about this wonderful little gem. And I think that they're going to be a nice little fixture here up in the Wisconsin Dells. Once they get their thing going this summer, we will have an update when that happens. I wasn't able to get any more information out of that. I tried though. So
Yeah.
On that note, Joe, where does this, I don't think we have any besides Voodoo. I mean, where we look like numbers wise, buddy?
Well, we had the St. Francis official opening. But yeah, otherwise we're waiting for the ones to officially open their doors, but we are currently sitting now at 264 overall. So that is 213 breweries, 33 additional tap rooms and locations, which is pretty straightforward. That's for a reminder for folks, that's where a brewery has a secondary location where they may or may not be brewing beer. We just reported on a couple announcements that fall into that category. Hop Yard would be one that is like that. And then other is kind of a category where we put breweries that they're brewing beer, they're serving their beer here, but they don't necessarily fit into the perfect model. Some of the places like with Pilot Project are like that. City, the city out in La Crosse, there are just a handful of breweries that don't fall into a perfect traditional brewery category where it's like, oh, like I am going to this brewery. It's a standalone brewery with their own equipment and their own facility, and that's just where you're visiting. So that's where those numbers kind of come from. Maybe next time I'll be more prepared. I can pull up a couple more examples on the spreadsheet to talk people through a little bit and kind of describe how we get those numbers. But yeah, that is where we currently are at. Hopefully, like I said, the very first time we did this, we're like, oh, you may hear from us in a month or so, and we've now had 2 episodes since then, a little over a month. So the good news keeps flowing here in Wisconsin with the number of openings and expansions and construction projects. And now I guess we can hit the reset button until we see each other next time and have more news to share. Hopefully the positive news trend continues, which we're going to have more positive updates for sure with all these openings that are going to be coming to fruition here in the rest of the year.
Amen to that. And until then, you can catch us at badgerbeerreport.com. You can catch us on Facebook, uh, a little bit on X, mostly on Facebook, Threads, Instagram, and our personal pages. Joel at Brewery Travels, and me at daddyporter.com. We got Chris Strasner on the things that he's on. And yeah. So Joel, take us out with your the thing that you love to say at the end.
Yeah. Well, and before I do that, I will remind folks too, like, if you are wanting more updates on like the little, I know we're going to be covering some more of the events and things, but if you follow us on social media, in particular, like Instagram and Facebook, and like the stories feature in both those places, we're constantly posting about events going on at breweries and beer releases, all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, as always, whether it's where you're living or where you're visiting, be sure to drink local everywhere. Cheers, everybody.